Today I fucked up by using public bathrooms the wrong way for 18 years. So as the title suggests, I've been using bathrooms wrong. For as long as I can remember, whenever my mom and I would go to the bathroom in public, she'd tell me how things were done because she's a borderline germaphobe. One such lesson involved flushing toilets. You know how there's usually a lever you need to push in order to flush? I was told to use my foot to push it, thus preventing any unnecessary touching. I've done this in every single public bathroom I've ever been to. Fast forward to a couple of months ago. My friend was talking about flushing a toilet at school. I don't remember the context, and she said she touched it with her hands. I pulled a face and asked why. Then it was her turn to be confused, and she said because that's how you're supposed to flush it. She then proceeded to ask me how I flush, and I said by using my foot. I was completely flabbergasted that she would use her hand, and she was baffled and appalled that I'd been essentially kicking toilets for my whole life. Suffice it to say, she gave me massive shit for that, and now my past actions haunt me every time I think of using a public restroom. TLDR, I kick public toilets to flush them instead of being gentle. I use the last of my stream to force the handle down. I also use my foot. I use my foot also. You don't have to kick it. Just gently press your foot down on it. Don't have to worry about it so much anymore with automated flushing. But that's something I will still do till this day if I have to manually flush. My mother was the one who taught me this, lol. As someone who had to clean fix school toilets for a couple of years, don't kick the handle. Use your foot if you have to, but don't kick. I had to close several bathrooms in the school I worked at because the kids kept kicking the toilet handle. Do people in this thread not wash their hands after going to the bathroom or what? I just scrunch up some toilet paper and use it to press the button lever without touching it. Throw it in right away and it will flush too, or throw it in the bin if there is one. Much easier than using your foot. Public place, always foot. Of course you use your foot. Where have people's hands been right before they'd operate the flush lever with them? People focus on flushing for contamination, but what about the lock to the door stall? That's the real danger. When flushing, you leave the stall and immediately wash your hands. When you first enter and lock the door, that same lock is touched by all the unclean hands leaving, and you're potentially on your phone and stuff the whole time in there without the ability to wash your hands. Either way, just use some TP as a barrier between stuff when in a public stall. Considering most public toilets, at least in the US, seem super low to the ground and have like large lever handles, it almost seems easier just to use your foot, not to mention more sanitary. Wow, I am very whelmed after reading this. Not super unusual. If I'm in a bathroom where the paper towel dispenser isn't sensor driven, I will use my hand to press down for one towel to come out and leave it hanging there. Then wash my hands, tear off that one towel and use that to push down enough to get the towels I need to dry my hands, then use it also to open the door to leave. I hate when I get to a public bathroom that doesn't have paper towels and only has the blowers. Also, a shout out of hate to bathrooms that do have motion sensors on the paper towels, but make you wait 6 freaking seconds between dispensing each one. It's your friend who has been doing it wrong. If I ended up losing one of my legs, I would still use my remaining foot to flush before I used my hand. I have used my foot in public restrooms for 40 years. If it's not a commercial toilet, then I use a square of TP and flush it with my hand protected from urine fingers. I taught my daughter to do this as well. On a 10-point scale of my personal shitter of choice at home to the sketchiest gas station toilet imaginable, whenever I get past a 5, I'm using my foot to flush 100. May the cosmos always grant me the flexibility. There are toilets you flush with your hand and there are toilets you flush with your foot. Humans routinely fail to understand that our skin is alive, made of many layers, and that it makes the best glove in general terms, not like handling chemicals or having open wounds. If you touch something, wash your hands after. Germs aren't going to eat through your hands. Probably. Maybe. I use my foot as well. It sometimes gets a comment or two, in the men's room, at nearly 40, as I finish up at the urinal. Human beings are fucking disgusting. No way I'm touching that lever with my hand. I also always use a paper towel to open the door handle on my way out. I get bathrooms are gross, but you're just making the handle even more gross, and then there's the inherent risk of damaging the toilet. Only psychopaths use their hands to flush public toilets. I just wash my hands after touching public toilet stuff. Y'all are putting your nasty pee floor feet on everything. Great. I get why people use their foot to flush, but as a maintenance person, I loathe that people do this crap. If it makes you squeamish, there is a sink with water, soap, and paper towels in that same bathroom to at least give the handle a wipe down before you use it, or just take some toilet paper to act as a barrier and immediately chuck it in the flushing toilet. On a similar note, I've seen people make nests of toilet paper and toilet seat covers, only to leave them behind or try to flush it all after doing their business, creating massive plugs of tissue in the toilet bowls. Quite a mess. Wash your hands properly afterward, and it doesn't really matter. That being said, I always use my foot. JFC everyone is gross. 1. You are not the only one using their foot to flush. 2. At least you flush. I'm 42 and I still use my foot. Am I literally the only one who uses my mouth? I use my foot. I use my foot too, don't feel bad. I ain't touching that nasty damn handle. Your cell phone is probably dirtier than a public toilet. Just wash your hands when you're done and it will be fine. No, you're doing it right. No way in hell am I ever touching a public urinal toilet handle. For $1 million I'd do it though. Using your foot to flush it is completely acceptable. Just don't actually kick it. I pull it with my foot, gently, because I feel like I'm more likely to damage it by pushing. Also, there's far less germs on the top of my shoe vs the bottom, so anyone using the handle with their hands after me won't get the bottom of my shoe germs. The only time I don't use my foot is if it's an automatic or a push button. Any kind of lever flush I use my foot for public bathrooms. I was raised to use my foot, still do to this day. The whole comment section apparently doesn't wash their hands. What's the point of using feet for anything? Yeah, if I'm going to a certain type of public bathroom, I do my best to avoid touching anything with my hands. That means foot flushing if I can. Yeah, I use my foot as well. I always use my foot too. I am not touching that thing if I can help it, no need to kick though. Team foot flush. Foot flushers unite. Of course you're supposed to flush a toilet with your hand, but if it's a public toilet I'm using my shoe. I'm a dude, so if I need to do a wee in a public toilet I even lift and lower the seat with my foot. You're not doing it wrong, just different. I also use my foot if it doesn't have a sensor to auto flush. There is no agreed upon rule that says you have to flush a toilet with your hand. How do you think people with no arms flush? I've always used my foot as well. Foot only. Never hands. Also, the hand dryers are gross too. This is not a today I fucked up. Those little baton flush handles on public toilets. Ain't no way I'm touching one of those. Push it with my foot every time. Nah, when I first went to the US and saw the toilets I had the exact same thought and did the exact same thing. It makes complete sense to do it that way, especially in a public toilet. It's not a bug, but a feature. Kicking is correct. Hand flushes in public bathrooms are nasty. Always foot. Foot Clan, unite. I use my foot with the big industrial levers. Chaotic evil is using your ass. Nope, you didn't fuck up, you are right. I can't imagine touching the public toilet with my hands. I don't care that I wash them after, it's still gross. I use my foot. I always use my foot. If you use your hand, you would have to use a huge wad of toilet paper as a barrier. It depends on the toilet for me. I've done